Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience in Mississippi, as well as our online audience joining us through iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're always trying to be able to help you guys to move toward your goals and dreams, and I'm really excited that a friend of mine has been able to bring two of her individuals from her iCrushGoals universe to our platform. I'm excited to welcome Yvette Caslin and Tawanda to our show today to talk to us not only about their own personal journeys, what it's been like for them to identify what they love to do, but also how they may be able to take the steps necessary to make those goals a reality. As I mentioned, they are part of the iCrushGoals universe. We'll talk to them a little bit about that, as well as let you guys know how you can stay connected with them as they're going throughout the rest of this year. Yvette, Tawanda, hello to you, and welcome to the program.
Hello.
Well, Yvette, I'm going to start with you. So first of all, this has been quite a year, right? We are now in the final quarter of 2020, in a year that many people are excited to see go. But both Tawanda and you have been able to do some amazing things this year. So I want to kind of begin with the reflection. What has 2020 been like for you to kind of be able to reflect on what you've been able to do and the goals you've been able to meet?
Well, I had all of these high hopes for 2020, and I was wearing these glasses, 2020 vision, the New Year's Eve, I was just all excited. And how the amount of clarity that I've gained this year, I had no idea that that's what 2020 vision would actually be. I didn't know that it would come through the pain, the suffering, and the exposure that, a lot of things, the light that this pandemic has shown in so many ways. And, it has been mysterious. I lost an uncle during this time, but it hasn't been really sad, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of time to pray and to fast, gotten quite a bit of reading done. I launched a new business at the top of the year. So, I'm living this last quarter like full speed ahead. I'm living with no regrets, and I'm really, really staying focused. And I started this month, the month of October, with, the book of Proverbs. I read the book of Proverbs at least 3 times a year, and I do it in a month where there are 31 days. And
Gotcha.
So I've just really just been reflecting and doing a lot of prayer and meditation. And, like I said, it's been a mysterious year, but not one that's really sad
Gotcha.
for me.
Got you. Tawanda, I've known you for a while, and I've known that you are no stranger to crushing goals, even before joining Lisa G's iCrushGoals movement. But what has this year been like for you? Even for people who are used to being active and productive, like Yvette was talking about, this year has definitely been different than I think any of us could have expected. How has this year been for you when you kind of reflect on what you wanted to do and what you've done?
Versus what I wanted to do. I'm still doing pretty much everything that I wanted to do. It's just intensified just because of the kids and with COVID-19, like Yvette said, or Yvette. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Here I am.
Girl, everybody in my family says it differently, so however you feel.
It's been very mysterious with having school-age children and just trying to stay on top of them and still be pretty much determined and dedicated to do what I want to do for me, because sometimes we can get lost in the not so great things and never move forward. So I always made it a rule of thumb to, regardless of what's going on, still make space for me.
Right.
So I think this year, even with the children being home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that probably has been the most stressful part, because you got kids that are in virtual school. They're in school, but they don't believe it's school. So you have to stay on top of them, micromanage them. And I still work full time. I never left the office. So with that, I have teachers contacting me from different blocks, different times of the day. Well, your nephew isn't in class today, or he is in class, but he doesn't have his camera on. So it's just certain things like that where I didn't have to deal with before, per se, because the kids were in school.
Right.
So it's that matched in with still, I'm not writing as much as I was when you first met me, though I still will write. I moved to videos and virtual interviews because, now is the time for that, where people are seated still. People aren't moving, so they can pay attention now opposed to before. And then that leaves room for me to still do, like I said, create that space to do what I want to do for me. So,
Gotcha.
in that aspect is definitely the kids.
Gotcha. Get it. It's interesting when I was prepping for this segment and reading both Yvette's information as well as yours, Tawanda. I thought about that old adage, or I say old, considering how old our audience is, keep it moving. And it's interesting
Right.
that the two of you in your own way, both literal and figuratively, have done that. Both of you all have been active physically, but also I think, even in life and being able to move forward. So, Tawanda, I'll begin this with you and then go to you, Yvette. How important has that mantra, in a sense, been to you, to keep it moving, to make sure that you're staying active, you're not forgetting about you, as you mentioned? How important has that been for you in just being able to deal with everything else?
Oh, God, it's huge. I mean, I've dealt with a lot through the years where I kind of had put me on the back burner, even when my sister passed away. And having 8 kids at home, you put you on the back burner to make sure everybody else is good. But, there's going to be things that happen. There's always going to be disaster that strikes. Yeah. I mean, in the ideal world, we live in a perfect world. Nothing's ever going to happen, but that's just not the case. So when those things happen, how much time have you invested into you? Because you have to be able to recover to be able to face those things, and you can't if you're completely drained. So I've always made it a point, since that time frame, you got to make time for you. That way, when something comes at you, you can deal with it, and you're not going to be defeated in that moment because you've already made time for you. It's mental health, I like to call it. If you don't make time for you, then who's going to do it for you?
So true. And for you, Yvette, I mean, how about that for you? I mean, as I mentioned, the keep it moving fits you both literally and figuratively. How important has that been for you in not losing yourself in the process?
Wow. So 2 years ago, we'll say 3 years ago, I was keeping it moving, but it wasn't. I wasn't keeping it moving while living in my purpose. I was keeping it moving while just trying to keep a roof over my head. And when the weekends would come, while I worked 7 days a week because it was nonstop, because I was, of course, on the web. I was working for a news outlet, and I would spend my weekends when I wasn't in the office Monday through Friday in my bedroom with the door closed, the blinds closed, in my bed, sleep the entire weekend. So now, fast forward to 2020, we've gone through a pandemic. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 2 years, walking in, authority, living in my purpose, and it's so important for me to keep it moving, because when I reflect and look back, I was, again, not living in my purpose, but I was always busy with busyness. I wasn't busy doing what I was, put here to do. So keeping it moving for me now is just like I'm alive. My soul has awakened. Mm-hmm. I enjoy going to Stone Mountain Park here in Atlanta. It's one of our state parks here. And doing the 5-mile trail around the mountain, which includes sightseeing. It includes seeing old friends, meeting new people along the way, greeting people of all races, ages, creeds. Having experiencing the lake, experiencing coyotes here and there, and deer here and there. But it's just different, and it's different when you surrender and really walk in your authority.
Exactly. It's a great reminder for our audience. For those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. You just heard there from Yvette Caslin. We also are joined by Tawanda Blake. They're part of the iCrushGoals universe, thanks to our friend Lisa G. We're talking to the two of them today, not only about the year that's been 2020, but what it's been like for them to look at what they want, to look at what they've achieved, and then, of course, the process in getting there and beyond. So I want to go back to you, Tawanda, with this next question. And it really is about something that I think a lot of us don't think about most of the time, and that is how what we're doing impacts others. Has it been easy for you, Tawanda, to look at yourself as a role model of what's possible? As you mentioned, you're dealing with a lot of things, but has it sunk in for you that by your moving forward, by you being able to do what you've done, you're being able to show other people what's possible?
I usually don't think about it, honestly, because it's just like, all right, 5 o'clock, got to work out. By 8 o'clock, I need to be out the door going to work. On Tuesdays, Mondays and Thursdays, I'm in school. On Tuesdays, I'm in counseling sessions. So my days just running together where I really don't stop to think, okay, so who's being impacted by this? I just, like I said, kind of made it up in my mind when my sister passed that you have to make your moments count, and you cannot wallow in the things that you have gone through. You have to deal with it and keep moving. I mean, don't fess. So just like Yvette, I work out every single day. I hike. I do all kinds of stuff. That's for me. That's for my purpose, so I can have that mental break or mental health day for me, just because I'm involved with so much stuff. And then people will reach out saying, well, dog, I don't really know how you do it, especially with the working out. I think that impacts so many different people when you don't even think about it. And I can't assume that this person can achieve this goal just because I can. So the only thing that I can do and be meaningful and intentional is to encourage them. I don't like empty compliments or empty suggestions per se. So therefore, if I'm asked, I will suggest things. Or if I see people accomplishing their own goals who've already reached out and said, hey, I want to do this. I want to be like you. Or, I'm trying to get this done by this date. I'm very meaningful and intentional when I reply or respond on how to get to their goal, not my goal, because my goal was pretty much set in stone well before now, but their goal. So I think just by people watching, they want to start their own goals and stick to it, because when they see that you're consistent and that you're serious, that just pours into them. That amps them up. That lights a fire under them to get started on whatever it is that they want to do for themselves.
So true. What a great point. Yvette, what about you? I mean, you're just going about doing what you do, but has it impacted you or even come to you, the impact you're having on other people by doing what you're doing right now?
Yes, I have a lot of people, for whatever reason, I've been making a lot of friends on Facebook within these past 3 months, more than I've made, like consistently over the years. And, people are just reaching out and they just want to know, well, what are you doing? Like, they just have like questions and, for no particular reason. But I think people have really found themselves in a space where, they've lost employment, or, their employment has changed, or they're, for whatever reason, just doing something different than they were doing before. And so now they're paying attention. And like like Tawanda was saying, they want something different. And so when they see your energy, your smile, the consistent posts that are really transparent and authentic and inspiring at times, they just reach out and just want to know, well, what are you doing? And like I said, for no particular reason, they just want something different. So they don't hesitate to reach out or send me a note in Messenger. And I've even had people to call me on my phone, and I'm like, how did you even get my phone number? But so it's like, people are really, really hungry for something different. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to share with people and encourage and inspire people.
Yeah. It's And it's funny you mentioned Facebook, Tawanda. That leads me back to you. For whatever reason, I guess because of the new algorithm, I don't see your post as much on Facebook. But, of course, I went looking for you as I was prepping for this segment. And one of the things you share on Facebook is even your working out. So I want to talk about accountability as we kind of go back around here because, I think it's so interesting, right? I mean, I think, we all – we set these goals, but then keeping ourselves accountable. Is sharing that way, Tawanda, part of your accountability for yourself?
You're going to love this. So when I began losing weight a year ago, Lisa reached out to me, and this is when she started the iCrushGoals to conquer the world at the time universe. She said, I'd like for you to be a part of this, but you have to be transparent. And I'm like, I'm not sure about that. I don't think I want to be transparent, about my weight and, all that I'm going through. And she was like, no, it's part of the process to be accountable, to be transparent so people can know what your story is and know what your journey is. So I'm like, I don't think I want to be accountable either. I kind of want to eat. So that's pretty much, how it got started with me posting every single day or documenting that part of my journey with the weight loss because you're not going to stick to it. If you didn't let this person know that you were doing this, who's going to hold you accountable? Who's going to say, well, no, put that donut down. Or, you said this a week ago. So it definitely adds 10 layers of accountability because you have other people watching, those people who reached out and said, I want to do this. I want to be like you. So what am I going to say when one day I just decide to stop? Like I lied this entire time? No. Yeah. So this is a goal that I wanted to do for me ultimately because of the health issues, but being transparent and accountable, that was something that Lisa talked me into, endearingly, lovingly talked me into. And I'm glad that she did because a year later, I'm down 45 pounds. I'm building muscle now, which I didn't think I could do. I'm building the body Build-A-Bear, build a body from the ground up. And that makes me feel good about myself. So it's just I'm not going to stop. It's kind of like now that it's set in motion, it's probably something I'm going to continue to do even after I meet my goals. So it's very intentional, but it started with iCrushGoals Universe.
Got you. So with that, in that same vein then, Yvette, then I'll ask you a similar question because I think it brings us right up around to how any of us even have reconnected this year, that is through iCrushGoals. We all have heard the saying, another popular saying, Yvette, to thine own self be true. Does being accountable, does that kind of help you in staying in your truth as you kind of set these goals for yourself?
Yes, it does. I mean, because you kind of set it in your mind that somebody is watching. Nobody might not even really be watching, but, you're just a little bit paranoid and like, what? So somebody may see this, and I want to be a person of my word, and I believe accountability. I truly believe in accountability and holding myself accountable, even when people aren't looking, but especially if I put it out there. And just sitting here listening to Tawanda, I'm sitting here thinking, wow, there's another step in my journey that I need to take. I'm not ready to say it right now on live radio, but
yeah.
But, I want to be more open and transparent with this current struggle that I have. Well, I will say it now. I'm struggling with the use of profanity, and I really, I'm a person that believes in speaking life, and with the instability that we've been witnessing, during this election season, it makes me really want to really take my word. My word is my bond, and and it's a part of my identity. So I really want to stop using profanity, and I use it in jest a lot. But just what we've witnessed recently, with the debates and stuff, I really want to change, in terms of using certain profane words.
Totally agree, and I appreciate you sharing that. Conversations Love a great exclusive, so I appreciate you you sharing with us.
I think I need a lesson. Once you get it, let me know what you did.
So Tawanda, the last thing I want to ask you about, and again, I appreciate Yvette and you coming on the show today. I want to talk to you about moving forward. You're a part of this community, iCrushGoals, but you also, are doing this on your own because it is a personal thing, and I want our audience to really get that. It's great to find community. It's great to find a support system, but at the end of the day, it begins and ends with you. So talk to us about the balance for you moving forward, Tawanda. You've been able to achieve a lot, as you said. So how do you balance what you've achieved as you keep looking forward to doing more?
The balance is still a work in progress. Okay. And I do want to say, like Yvette, I've met a community of people, that we have the same goals in mind when we go work, when we hike and do all these other things, but by the time I get home, I'm like, okay, who's cooking dinner? Because it's not going to be me, so that goes along the lines with that balance. Or if I decide, okay, I got to get up at 5 o'clock to work out, well, maybe this morning I got up at 6, so that puts me an hour behind schedule. So I have not been disciplined enough to fit into a perfect balance, but at the same time, I'm determined to do what it is that I want to do. So moving forward, it would be going into a balance where it's even, where I'm on a scheduled time. And that's in the ideal world moving forward. I can get up on time, work out, get to work on time, and everything would move seamlessly. So moving forward, that's just my goal. It's just to be extremely intentional to where I'm not sprawled all over the place after I get the umpteenth call from the teacher, and I'm not rushing to do the me things that I want to do for me. I spare the time for the kids, but I'm rushing to do the things that I want to do for me. But I'm very, very, very intentional in doing that for me, because sometimes as parents, we get lost in the sauce. We get lost in these certain situations and these certain dynamics of, okay, you just broke up with your boyfriend, so I got to talk you off the cliff. Oh, you broke up too. So it's just certain situations every day that's forever changing. So being a single mom in this whole scheme of things, it doesn't leave room for a perfect balance, but it's something that I can work on moving forward.
Gotcha. Well, something great. And for you, Yvette, I want to ask you the same question. You've been able to achieve a lot. So how do you balance? Because, I always tell people that it's great what you've done, but what are you doing now? What are you going to do moving forward? So how do you balance what you've achieved and give yourself credit for that, but then also think forward to what you want to do?
Oh, wow. So, one way is I keep my quote-unquote resume up to date. Just to have the accomplishments listed, because it's almost like writing in a gratitude journal. Because some days you do just kind of get down, but I do. I'm always looking forward. I like to live in the moment and plan for the future, and I don't want to rest on my laurels because I don't know that there's so much more that God wants from me. So, I meditate daily. I read scripture daily to keep me grounded. I keep a calendar, of activities and, planned activities and try and stick to it as much as possible. But I'm very nimble if I get a little bit off track, as long as it doesn't involve somebody else and, I miss a meeting or something. But for the most part, I try to give myself a little bit of grace. And so mainly really with meditation and just planning and living in the moment as much as I can.
Yeah. Such an important thing for our audience out there, whether they are part of the iCrushGoals community or not, to be able to do that, to be able to set these goals for themselves and then know that there are people out there who are not only rooting for them, but also want to be able to give them that support as well. We have two guests who really show that. We're excited to welcome Yvette Caslin and Tawanda Blake. If you guys would like to find out more information about the iCrushGoals universe, all you guys have to do is go to iCrushGoals.com. Again, that's iCrushGoals.com is the website for more information. And Yvette, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Yes, your audience can stay connected with me by my website, YvetteCaslin.com. That's YvetteCaslin as in Nancy.com. I'm Yvette Caslin across all social media platforms.
All right, she's made it easy for us. And Tawanda, what about you?
Tawanda.Blake, or not Tawanda.Blake, but Tawanda Blake on Instagram, and then www.interruptedblogs.com, and they can reach me directly there as well.
All right. Yvette and Tawanda, this was great. Thank you all so much for the time. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to having the both of you on again.
Yes, this was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Definitely my pleasure. Definitely want to thank our mutual friend, Lisa G. with 2 E's, for setting up this chat with us for today. And thank all of you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make today amazing. Take care.